everybody. Welcome back to the Listen Up Girl podcast, your go-to source for everything happening in the LGBTQ plus world and beyond. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, and today we've got a packed episode. Stories that range from viral controversy and courtroom battles to major cultural shifts, scientific breakthroughs, and moments that would genuinely make you stop and think. Some of these stories are messy, some are inspiring, and some are quietly changing the narrative in ways we are not fully aware of yet. Let's start with our first story in West Hollywood, where two dads are now facing charges after a short video involving their son spread rapidly. I reported this on last week, but here's the thing. That clip went viral only shows a few seconds of what actually happened. According to reports, the situation began during an altercation with an anti-LGBTQ plus right-wing activist. Witnesses say the fathers were being confronted and harassed before the video even started recording. And that's where this story gets complicated, because the footage, the part of the internet reacted to, doesn't include that context. Their legal team is pushing back hard, saying the video doesn't reflect reality and that the fathers were reacting in the moment, not acting with intent to harm. Meanwhile, public support has surged. Over $153,000 has already been raised to help cover their legal costs. This is one of those stories that remind us how quickly narratives can form online and how rarely we can get the full picture in real time. This case is ongoing, and what happens next will likely depend on evidence we haven't seen yet. And once we get an update on the story, I'll make sure to bring it to you. Next, a quiet shift from the Vatican. Our next story that might seem subtle on the surface, but could be more significant than it looks. After an 11-day tour of Africa, Pope Leo confirmed that the Catholic Church will not roll back its 2023 guidance allowing informal blessings for same-sex couples. That guidance has originally introduced under Pope Francis, but what's really getting attention is something that he said during the trip. He emphasized that there are more important issues facing the Church, including justice, equality, and freedom, and that unity should not revolve around sexual matters. Now, this is not a rewrite of doctrine. It's not full inclusion, but it's a shift in what's being centered. For LGBTQ plus Catholics, who have long been positioned as the issue, this lands differently. Some advocates are calling it a long overdue reorientation of priorities. So the question becomes, is this progress or is this just a softer tone? We'll have to wait and see. Next, drag performers win major legal victory. In Utah, we've got a clear legal win. A federal judge has ordered the city of St. George to pay $350,000 to Southern Utah drag stars, covering attorney fees and after a nearly 3-year legal battle. The case ultimately ended in a 2025 settlement, and now the financial ruling reinforces just how significant that fight was. It's a reminder that legal battles don't just shape policy, they send a message. And in this case, that message is pretty clear. Discrimination comes with a cost. Next, Women's Institute branches close inclusion. In the UK, 2 Women's Institute branches in Bristol have made a powerful and costly decision. They have chosen to close rather than to comply with rules that would exclude trans women. These changes came after a legal ruling defining sex and policy, and local branches were asked to align with updated guidance. Instead, members pushed back. In one branch, about 3/4 voted to suspend operations entirely rather than exclude people. This follows after a closure, Longwell Green WI, which had been active for 62 years. And that stands out there. This isn't just policy. It's the response. Everyday people, neighbors, mothers, grandmothers, choosing inclusion even when it means losing their institution. That's allyship that actually cost something. Next, Elliot Page's documentary challenges nature. So Elliot Page is back once again, and this time he is challenging one of the most common arguments used against LGBTQ plus people, the idea of what's natural. His new documentary, Second Nature, explores more than 1,500 animal species that display same-sex behavior, change sex, or exist outside rigid gender structures. We're talking penguins, clownfish, bonobos, entire ecosystems that don't fit into a binary framework. Page said it directly. The idea that nature is strictly cisgender and heterosexual is simply false. And he also opened up about growing up feeling isolated, like something was wrong with him. And that's the heart of his project. Because if one queer kid sees this and realizes they're not alone, the entire narrative starts to shift. Love that. Next, a major new study is pushing back against a longstanding claim used in an anti-trans legislation, the idea that most trans children grow out of it. Researchers from the Virginia Commonwealth University analyzed multiple studies, including those used to support that claim. And what they found, the data does not have a clear conclusion at all. In fact, outcomes varied widely depending on how the data was interpreted, from 0% to 100%, which basically means the statistic that's been used for years isn't reliable. The lead researcher emphasized something important. Policy should be based on accurate science, not misused or outdated data, especially when that data is being used to justify laws affecting real people's lives. Next, Dylan Mulvaney speaks out from Broadway. Dylan is opening up about her experience starring in Six, the musical on Broadway, and what it's really like being a trans performer in that space. She says she's having the time of her life, but it hasn't been easy. Her casting sparked backlash, with critics questioning whether a trans woman should play Anne Boleyn. She also spoke about the criticism she received about her voice and how long it took her to realize those comments often come from people who haven't even seen the show. Still, she's pushing forward, and she made a powerful point. When you bring different life experiences into a role, you create something new and something more nuanced. Next, the Supreme Court declines case on student privacy. In a quiet but significant move, the Supreme Court has declined to hear a case involving a Florida student who used different pronouns at school without their parents being informed. This means a lower court ruling stands, one that supports a school's right to keep that information confidential. It's a major moment in the ongoing debate over student privacy, parental rights, and LGBTQ plus protections. I feel like I tell a different story every news cycle about this, whether schools are making teachers tell the parents about their pronouns, or if they're saying it's kept private. So we're all over the map with these different policies and laws and rules. So next, trans athletes wins discrimination settlement. A trans powerlifter, JayCee Cooper, has won a discrimination settlement after being banned from competing. She argued that the exclusion violated Minnesota's Human Rights Act, and ultimately the case resulted in a settlement, marking a significant win and ongoing fight for trans inclusion in sports. Next, Barney Frank enters hospice care. Former Congressman Barney Frank, the first U.S. lawmaker to come out as gay while in office, has entered hospice care in Maine. He shared he feels no pain and is comfortable as he deals with heart failure. Frank's legacy is massive, from LGBTQ plus rights to financial reform, and this moment is a reminder how much one person can shape history. And then we have taxpayer controversy over Trump, the orange convicted felon's ballroom. In Washington, controversy is brewing over a proposal to use taxpayer funds to fund the ballroom tied to the orange convicted felon. Congresswoman AOC responded bluntly, rejecting the idea outright. The timing following a security scare has only intensified the debate. I love AOC. And next, license plates funding anti-LGBTQ groups. An investigation by Outlook and Uncloseted Media has revealed that over $7 million from specialty license plates has funneled into far-right groups. These funds have supported anti-LGBTQ legislation, conversion therapy efforts, and Christian nationalist initiatives. And here's the wild part. This is happening through everyday systems. And that's what's on the back of people's cars. It's a reminder that funding pipelines are often hidden in plain sight. Next, we have a judicial nominee that sparks concern. Progressive groups are raising alarms over Justin Smith, a orange convicted felon's judge nominee with a record of opposing LGBTQ rights. Advocates warn that confirming him could have long-term consequences, potentially shaping legal decisions for decades. And next, Chicago named the top LGBTQ plus travel destination. So we're going to end this newscast on a high note. Chicago has been ranked one of the safest, most welcoming cities for LGBTQ plus travelers, according to the Queer Safety Index. And at the heart of this ranking is North Halsted, the first officially recognized gay village in the U.S. It's a place where queer history, visibility, and community are not just acknowledged, they're celebrated. So that's your news roundup for today, a mix of progress, pushback, and everything in between. If there's one thing these stories show, it's that change isn't linear. It's messy, it's complicated, and it's happening in real time. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts and following along for more updates, deeper dives, and conversations that really matter. Also, please leave a review on the podcast because your reviews get this podcast in front of more people. I'll see you tomorrow with more LGBTQ plus